in just a few moments, we will also share the presentation that we have prepared for these financial results. Thank you very much, Christina. If we can go to the first slide. Perfect. I will start first with the Bucharest Stock Exchange share price. At the end of June, it is sitting at 37.9 RON. Over a period of 5 years, it is up 73%. However, it's still underperforming the main market index, the BET index. In terms of our shareholding structure for the second quarter of 2025, we have a stable shareholding structure with very little changes. As you may know, our shareholding structure is composed the majority, 77% of Romanian institutional investors, and also Romanian private investors with 20%. Yeah. You will see on this slide also our significant investors. Of course, we thank for the support of all our shareholders, which is of course very much appreciated. In terms of the number of shareholders, we are close to 7,000 shareholders, slightly below the previous quarter, just 1% down. Now, if we can go to the second slide. Thank you. As Remus mentioned, starting the 1st of July, Remus is now the CEO of Bucharest Stock Exchange. In terms of our trading activity, we had a strong quarter. In terms of liquidity, 10 billion RON, which is up 11% compared to the previous year. The previous period of this, actually the same period of the previous year. In terms of new offers, new issues that we had on the market, we had 3 series of Fidelis bonds, accumulating a value of 4.1 billion RON, which is up 28% compared to the previous year. We also had the issue of the Bucharest City Hall municipal bonds with a value of approximately 0.5 billion RON. Another development that happened for the market, and we also welcomed it, is MSCI Global, which is a global index provider, has classified the Romanian capital market as an advanced frontier market. This happened following the introduction of this subcategory at the 2025 June annual review. This has been very welcomed by the market. We had a lot of coverage in the social media, as well as good feedback from the investors following this. In terms of the main market index, following a volatile quarter, which also supported our trading activity, which is up. The main market index ended the quarter with a positive return of 12% year to date, with a strong positive sentiment following the Romanian presidential elections. Looking at the next quarter, what we have actually already seen in the market is the voluntary takeover for Purcari wineries, which is a significant offer, and also will have a significant impact on our financial results. The main market index is up and also making consecutive highs, as we have seen these days in robust trading activity. The trading activity is quite large compared to the same period of the previous year. Also, what we can say is that the Ministry of Finance will continue the Fidelis bonds on a monthly basis. There's another aspect that we would like to highlight, and I believe there will be more details in the presentation. It's about the status of the CCP.ro. The board of directors of CCP.ro sent several convenes for the organization of the general shareholders meeting of CCP.ro for the approval of an updated business plan, a reduction in the share capital with the losses recorded by the CCP of amount of 26.94 million RONs, and for a new increase of the share capital of 27.9 million RONs. Yeah. And the next slide will also offer some charts in terms. The next slide, yeah, will offer some charts in terms of our trading activity. If we look at equity-like instruments, shares, rights, units, certificates, and includes also offers, as you can see, the second quarter of 2025 has been robust compared to the previous quarter. If we look at the same period of the previous year, however, the trading activity is down 17%. However, if we look at the main market and also only regular trades, we can see that the trading activity also compared to the same period of the previous year has been increasing with 4%. What we would also like to highlight is the trading value in the fixed income instruments, which is the chart from the bottom left. The trading activity compared to the same period of the previous year has been increasing, 4.75 billion RONs, which is up 36% compared to the previous year. Yeah. I would like now to kindly invite Virgil Stroia, our CFO, to present the highlights of our financials.
Thank you, Alex. So regarding our financials, we have here in this slide presentation of the second quarter 2025 comparison with 2024. On the left side, we have the and first column comparison for the consolidated figures. So as you can see, we have on 4% lower revenues, operating revenues compared to 2024. As mentioned into the report, it's where we had a weaker secondary market trading activity that influenced the consolidated operating revenues. We had operating expenses higher with 19% compared to 2004, and here we can say, and you will have more details in our analysis regarding the CCP expenses, which increased significant in 2005 compared to 2004, and influenced the results starting with the first quarter in 2005. We recorded a much lower operating profit in the second quarter 2005, almost 1 million lei compared to 4.7 million lei in 2004, and much smaller net profit, as mentioned, influenced by the significant increase in the expenses. Regarding the standalone figures at the BVB level, yes, here the decrease in revenues is higher compared to the consolidated level. As mentioned, the trading activity or which are generating the main revenues are recovering in the second quarter, but there is still room for improvement and increase. We had a 8% increase on the operating expenses, mainly due to the personnel costs increase. Starting with 2024, we increased our team, and this impact we can see now in 2005. We recorded an operating profit influenced by the decrease in revenues and increase in expenses of 2.3 million lei compared to 4 million lei in the same quarter in 2024, and a net profit of 3 million lei compared to 6.8 million lei in 2004. Here, we were influenced by the recording of a new impairment for our CCP investment. According to international accounting standards, we are making an evaluation of our investments at each issue of the financial statements. So, given the information received from our subsidiary, we recorded an additional 3.5 million impairment. On the next slide,
just a quick comment, if you allow. So we are in fact coming back for the trading activities better than expected after the turmoil at the end of 2024 on that elections background. And we do have a stability anchor in the post-trading, in the CSDR. Our CSD is actually helping mitigate the downsides of the trading
Decrease in revenue.
Of the trading decrease. On the third quarter, I believe the results will show this trend of improvement in trading volumes and the dynamics. And also what Virgil mentioned is worth highlighting again. We are recording in a prudent manner the investment in the central counterparty. As of December 31st, 2024, we have recorded the first depreciation ever on the investment made by the Bucharest Stock Exchange in the central counterparty project. We have followed up with another two depreciations recorded at Q1 and Q2. So that's where the negative impact in the standalone and consolidated bottom lines come from. Back to you, Virgil. Thank you.
On the next slide, we have the main figures for the first 6 months 2025 and the comparison with 2024. And here we can see on the standalone level a decrease in the operating revenues, as mentioned before. We saw what happened in the second quarter in 2005. We had a similar level of the operating expenses compared to 2024 for 6 months. Due to the decrease in revenues, the operating profit also decreased to 3.5 million with a lower operating margin. We had better, higher net financial revenue of 4.3 million RON, and here is we recorded the dividends from the central depository, which helped us to have a higher result. We had an impairment on, as mentioned, for the 6 months of almost 6.6 million. I wanted to say 7 million and 6.6. Profit before tax of 1.2 million and very low profit for the period of 660,000 RON. I will give the floor to my colleague Cristina to tell you more about the other figures.
Thank you, Virgil. So at consolidated level, the operating revenues as of the first half of 2025 are in amount of 37 million RON, a slight decrease of 4% compared with previous period, influenced by the lower trading segment revenues, while revenues from post-trading and registry segment increased by 8%, reaching almost 20 million RON. Regarding operating expenses at group level, they are in amount of 37.7 million, a 19% increase, and they are mainly generated by the increase recorded on the subsidiary ccp.ro, which are higher by 10 million, and they are representing mainly technology services and personal costs. We will detail more on them on the next slides. Operating result at group level, it's a loss of almost 500,000 RON. Significantly lower with compared with the profit recorded in the first half of 2024, and is mainly generated by the significant expenses recorded by ccp.ro. Financial result is over 2 million RON, a decrease of 24% year-on-year, and it's mainly influenced by the decrease in interest income recorded, and also by the increase in the estimates regarding the expected credit losses provisions. Net result at group level, it's a profit of 1.5 million RON. Regarding the consolidated revenues by segment, trading segment represents share, it's decreasing from 52% to 47% in Q1 2025, and the trading revenues represent the most part of it, which is 68%. Post-trading and registry segments represented by the local central depository, Depozitarul Central, represents 53% of group operating segments. The post-trading segment has the highest operating margin, which is 40%, 2% decrease compared with the previous period, reaching 12.8 million RON in revenues. Registry segment also recorded an increase of 12%, up to 6.7 million RON. Regarding the operating expenses at the BVB level, we recorded a similar level in operating expenses compared with previous year. The increase in personal expenses covered mostly of the decrease in other operating expenses. And this, as Virgil mentioned, the personal expenses increase is mostly due to the increase in FTEs compared with the previous period, and also to the annual indexation performed in April this year. And I also mentioned that the decrease in operating expenses of 16% is based on the one-off expenses recorded in previous year regarding the relocation of the headquarters of BVB headquarters, but also due to lower marketing and promotion expenses compared with previous year. Regarding the consolidated operating expenses, the increase in 19% is mostly due, as already mentioned, to CCP expenses, new expenses recorded in the operationalization process, namely third-party services of RON 3 million, representing management services of the compensation system, audits and analysis for DORA compliance, but also to the RON 2 million depreciation expenses recorded for the technological infrastructure and software license. The increase of 19% of the consolidated expenses is also due to the increase in consolidated personnel costs at group level due to increase in FTEs coming from CCP, DADRO and BVB, but also to the annual adjustment approved at group level. A few highlights on the financial position as of the end of June. At BVB level, the decrease in non-current assets is mainly determined by the additional impairment recorded by BVB for the participation in CCP DADRO of 6.6 million. Also, regarding current assets, are up 90%, up to almost RON 28 million. And this is due to the recognition of the dividends receivable from Central Depository, but also of a reclass of current portion of financial investments. At BVB group level, consolidated non-current assets are of RON 115 million, slightly similar level compared with previous period, and main variation come from the intangible assets increase from CCP DADRO, representing software license, and IT replacements made for trading infrastructure. Current assets are up 15%, up to RON 143 million, and are influenced by higher restricted assets following the increase in variable contribution at DC, but also due to changes in the current portion of financial investments. The consolidated liabilities at the end of the first half of 2025 are up 29% to 77 million, and are influenced mainly by higher current liabilities, representing services accruals from CCP, but also by the increase in variable contributions which are already also presented as current assets in the balance sheet. So that's it from me. If you have any questions for us.
Well, thanks, team. Are there any questions? If none,
Dacă aveți întrebări, prezentarea a fost în engleză.
Bună ziua, Luciana Simion. Mulțumim pentru prezentare. Aș avea o întrebare referitoare la contrapartea centrală. Dacă termenul de aprilie 2026 rămâne valabil sau estimați altceva la acest moment?
bună ziua! Mulțumim pentru întrebare. În acest moment, termenul de aprilie 2026, care, să reamintim, era prevăzut ca termen de operaționalizare, probabil că e greu de respectat. Se avansează procesul de pregătire a dosarului în vederea redepunerii în condițiile noului cadru de reglementare EMIR 3 și DORA. De aceea și cifrele mari de la cheltuielile CCP, nu doar de la cheltuielile BVB din reevaluarea participației la CCP. Suntem pregătiți și lucrăm și la scenarii care au termen de operaționalizare a contrapărții centrale după aprilie 2026. În acest moment nu avem informații care să justifice public disclosure. În momentul în care le vom avea, probabil că le vom face, dar totuși e de precizat că am înregistrat la Q2 o depreciere în baza unei asumții care prevede un termen de operaționalizare ulterior trimestrului 2 2026 pentru contrapartea centrală. Asta v-aș spune eu acum ca răspuns la întrebare. Sigur că vorbim numai de forward-looking statements în privința tuturor termenelor. Prin urmare, putem fi mai optimiști sau mai conservatori. Noi ați observat că am trecut la o politică un pic mai conservatoare, inclusiv prin înregistrarea acestor deprecieri, care nu trebuie înțelese ca fiind impactul doar al unor evenimente din prezent, ci și, cel puțin în privința deprecierii de la 31 decembrie 2024, o aducere la zi a valorii înregistrate pentru participația Bursei de Valori București la contrapartea centrală pentru întreaga perioadă anterioară, aș spune eu. Dacă Virgil ne poate da mai multe detalii.
Metoda folosită este cea a fluxurilor de numerar viitoare. Se calculează valoarea de recuperare pentru că suntem societate mamă. Practic, suntem obligați de standarde să folosim IAS 36 și metoda de evaluare este, în acest caz, cea menționată.
Da, rămânem angajați în proiectul contrapărții centrale. Este o necesitate pentru piața de capital să poată face clearing pentru forward pe energie și pentru derivate cu underlying assets în piața de capital. Mai multe despre asta pe măsură ce apar informări oficiale din partea CCP.
Dacă mai aveți alte întrebări?
Bună ziua!
Bună ziua!
Mă auziți?
Vă auzim, da?
Ce să vă întreb, care este stadiul autorizării CCP-ului? Care ar fi, dacă mai sunt anumite termene pentru autorizare?
Este în curs procesul de pregătire a dosarului în vederea reinițierii cererii de autorizare. După cum știm, în momentul intrării în vigoare a regulamentului EMIR 3 s-a schimbat procedura, inclusiv în privința depunerii aplicației. Aplicația nu se mai depune la ASF ca anterior, ci se înregistrează direct la ESMA, într-un portal unic care este și el în curs de construire. Contrapartea centrală, la momentul reinițierii dosarului, după cum știm deja din informații publice, trebuie să-și demonstreze conformitatea și cu regulamentul european privind reziliența digitală, reziliența operațională digitală, DORA mai pe scurt. Noi avem niște estimări proprii de termene, dar nu sunt astăzi suficient de bine fundamentate pentru a indica săptămâni, luni sau trimestre în calendar. Ce putem să vă împărtășim este că data de operaționalizare avută în vedere anterior, undeva în trimestrul 2 sau chiar în aprilie 2026, astăzi pare că nu va fi foarte fezabilă.
Am înțeles, vă mulțumesc frumos!
Mulțumim și noi și pentru înțelegere.
Da.
Dacă mai sunt întrebări, dacă au colegii mei de completat ce am spus eu referitor la primele două întrebări, dacă nu, vă mulțumim tuturor
Mulțumim.
Mulțumim!
și rămâneți aproape.
La revedere!
Bună ziua!
La revedere!